Okay, so the Trust did have a new single out, Rebel Song. It is such, there's just something about it which just caught my eye straight away with the way it has these like dark tones to it. And then this insane catchy chorus kicks in. Congratulations on how great it is. How have you found the response to it so far?
Yeah, it's been really cool. I mean, it's a weird time we're living in. I feel like at the moment, like, everyone feels very frustrated and very tense at the moment. So, whenever you put anything out at the moment with music or any sort of content, you can kind of feel a bit of tension in the air. But
Yeah.
but people have been loving it. It's been great,
Oh,
and
sweet.
I think it's a feel good song, and I think that's what we need right now is a feel good song.
No, definitely, definitely. So, where did the track come from? Was it something that has been a lockdown creation, or is it something that you've had for a while?
Yeah, it was one of those songs that went from sort of like paper to release very, very quickly. Like it was like July last year, and it was like we were in between lockdowns, and it was one of those things where we had this voice memo I'd recorded at 2 a.m, which was like was the verse and that's sort of the rough sort of chorus idea. And I was like, this is really cool. And the next day, the band came over and we just played it into Logic, and it was like, this is great. We booked the studio the next week, recorded it the following week, got it mixed, and then it went. So it's a really quick process from like sort of voice memo to studio, and then we had to hold back on the release. We had to put some other songs out first, but if we wanted to, we could have put that song out in like November, because it was done by November. It was from some July. Then it was in the studio the following week, and it was sort of mixed and done by sort of like August, September time. So,
Oh, sweet. What was the that original voice memo demo? What was that? Was it the chorus? Was it the riff? What was it precisely? That first bit of Rebel Song.
it was like I was playing like the sort of the verse, the bass line on the sort of like the E string on guitar, and it was kind of the sort of chords of the chorus, and I was over the top, just kind of mumbling over the top of it, like going like, and it was just, I was saying like random words. And then for me, like when we write music, I can't start writing lyrics until I've got a title. I can't do it. I have to have a title first. And so it's one of those things where I was making the noises, and the Rebel Song title was in my head even before I knew what it was going to be about or anything. So it was just noises originally on that voice memo, but I knew it was going to be called Rebel Song from the first voice memo.
Sweet. It's interesting that you say about with the bass guitar, because I love the bass tones in the verses. It really gives it this cool dynamic and tension, and then has that release of the chorus. You hear so many songwriters like fixate on a sound, but then kind of forget about the quality of the actual music. I think with this song and you guys in general, you really capture a great tone, but then still are able to give enough quality if that's a riff, if that's a melody. And yeah, this song is a great example of it. So what was the recording process like? Was it, with the whole lockdown thing, obviously it's too depressing to go into too much detail, but what was it been like being a band trying to work through it all over last year?
We've had to change our songwriting, process, because obviously before the four of us would just get in a room and just jam and write together. So like I said, that whole doing a voice memo, making a Logic demo, it's not our usual way of doing things. But in terms of the studio, so it was a really smooth. We did it over 3 days. It was really, really smooth.
Wow.
It was, but we knew. But the thing is, when you know what you want to do, like we knew what we wanted it to sound like. It's a lot easier than going there and going. Like, we put this idea on a guitar. When you know what you're doing, it's easy.
What was it like with obviously, was it last year the second EP from you guys came out? What was it like going from that EP to all of a sudden this to Rebel Song in particular? Did you feel like it was kind of a progression, or were you going into this with like, oh, this kind of feels like a new chapter nearly?
Yeah, I think it was just a progression, because obviously we recorded that EP end of 2019. And then lockdown happened and we had to finish it, but we couldn't get into the studio. And obviously, while we were finishing that EP off, we were starting to get, Rebel Song was starting up in sort of July time when we were in the studio. So they kind of overlapped. So I think, like, because the EP was kind of finished, was started, before lockdown, it kind of, I think that having that big gap in the year meant that the progression was going to happen anyway, because we weren't just gigging and releasing music constantly. We had to take a break essentially from gigging and rehearsing and stuff like that. So I think that's probably the reason why it changed.
Fair. It's going to be a great track live, like you mentioned about gigs.
Yeah.
The way that it dives into that hook is just going to get so many people going. Have you guys got anything lined up as of yet? Or
Yeah, we're doing a show with some people we love called Kick Out the Jams, who great champions of new music. We're doing a show with them at the Amersham Arms in New Cross in London in July, and then we've got a big hometown headline show that we've booked. We're just getting the final details for that for the end of July, that we're going to announce in the next sort of week. It's the whole word gig is so weird now because it's been so long. You know, our last gig before lockdown was March 2020 last year, so it was literally like a week or two before the lockdown was announced. So we had those few extra months of like gigging, but it still feels like a lifetime ago. So I think you know, it's weird. It's the first time ever where we're playing songs that we've never played. Normally we play a song first together, then we record it. It's the first time we're playing a song we've never played together before. So we did our first sort of rehearsal the other week, and you know, we had to learn how to play Rebel Song. We're like, how do we do this? Like, what come on,
so frustrating.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Carrying on with gigs, looking back, you know, we're at a stage where I think now we don't have to reflect as much, because soon, you know, you got the some gigs lined up. What's been some of the funniest or noteworthy, embarrassing moments for you guys as a band on stage? Have you guys experienced anything where it's just like, oh, no, at the time?
All the time. I mean, we like to champion ourselves as like the world's most uncool band. The thing of being in the band is like a lot of bands do this thing where they kind of, you know, back trying to be, you know, you want to be cool and look cool and whatever. But we've never tried to do that. We just, you know, we just ourselves. And sometimes, you know, things happen and we just let it happen. Like you're on stage and, you know, Dale on guitar will try and do something a bit show off, it goes completely wrong, and then we all just laugh at him on stage because, you know, we don't care. Or we'll be in an interview. I remember once we were in an interview and we were trying to, you know, we thought, oh, this is really, we're in an interview, it's really cool. And like midway through the interview, Dale gets his phone rings and he goes, "All right, Mum, how's it going?" Breaking moment. It was like, oh God. It's fun in not being slick. You know?
Exactly, that's so true, and it just makes you guys more authentic. Like I love some, like I'm not a TikTok person yet. I haven't dived into downloading the app, but when you guys share a TikTok, it always cracks me up. It's always a great charm to see when people, like you say, just don't want to take themselves too seriously.
I think in this generation, because social media breaks that barrier, you know, before social media and the internet, you know, musicians and labels had control over what we consumed, you know, through, you know, TV, magazines. They could really like present artists how they want to be presented. But now with social media, you know, people, you know, just film themselves in, you know, their bathroom or whatever, you know, just, you know, looking like, you know, unwashed and whatever, because, you know, people don't want that anymore. And I think like people are too self-aware to you know, to care about coolness anymore. So I think for us, it's just like we just want to be ourselves.
No, that's so good to hear. And you know, looking at you guys as a band, you're from Southend and I'm from Billericay, so just down the road. How long have you guys been a band now?
We would have been together since August 2016. So
okay,
5 years in August.
I've got a question with the, obviously if you don't want to give too much information up on the hometown gig, is that going to be in Southend?
Yes, Chinnery's.
Classic.
Our place. You know, we've done a few like hometown shows there that we've, you know, been packed out. It's been just great. So I think for us, it's like we're going to come out of lockdown. We've got to do one of those. We've got to come back.
So true.
You know, just for our own sake, because, you know, our ego's been deflated. We need the ego back. You know. But, our kids have got too small.
Absolute classic, that place. The amount of times that I've gone there and it's like get jam donuts beforehand or end up in the arcade as well. It's
all about, you know. But don't take pictures in those arcades because they get really angry. We tried to do a few photo shoots in those arcades.
Oh, really?
They get really angry.
Wow.
We were shooting a music video down there and we were across the road filming and they were coming out going, stop.
So yeah, when Rebel Song is blasting out of Chinnery's in a couple of months, it's going to be absolutely epic.
I think we learned to play it, that is.
It's going to be awkward silence. Like, how
it sounded a bit rough, I'm not going to lie. When we played it, I was like, it's not quite. You know. Have
you guys been able to do any live streams to tick along or not?
Yeah, I mean, we did quite a few last year. You know, the problem I have with live streams, just a personal taste of mine, is because you're so reliant on the technology. when you're performing, and when you're playing, you're thinking about the live stream so much, worried if it's gone wrong or you're on mute.
Yeah,
I don't know, it takes away from playing a little bit, you know.
I bet.
So I always find with live streams, they're not my favourite thing to do. But we've done a lot of them, and there have been some good ones. So
if you actually have a moment now to look back on like a song like Good Too Bad and all those earlier ones, how do you feel like you guys have evolved, changed, improved since then?
I think we've gotten more mature, which is the main one. I think becoming more, I think more bruised as well from this experience of, you know, being a band and being with each other, and emotional experiences and experiences with, you know, people in industry. And I think, you know, just listening to more music and just becoming more self-aware of your own abilities and your own strengths and weaknesses. And so I just think anyone who's in a band long enough will get better, because you just become more self-aware of what you're doing. And obviously, like, we've had, you know, debates whether we should take down some of the old stuff, but our management say is, and we kind of agree, is I think, you know, we live in this age where a lot of bands, they do this thing where they take down their old stuff, and I understand why. But for us, it's like, even if the old stuff is not the strongest stuff in the world, I think it's quite nice for people to see your journey.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And when you look at bands in the 70s and 80s and 90s, when, you know, and you see, like, you know, when they start out and their albums weren't that great or whatever, in the early days, they got better as they went on. You know, the album's still out there, you know, and still then it wasn't taken down. So I think it's good to look back and see where you've come from. And I think it's good when people discover us or hear something, they can go back and go, that's where they started, and this is where we are right now. And hopefully, you know, in a couple of years' time, they can look back at Rebel Song and go, that's where they are. That's where they were last year. Here they are now. So objectives, your own, if I make your, you know, take your opinions, it's tough, you know, talking about music and
and I can easily admit I can get it wrong. I have got it wrong.
I mean, we loved your review of Rebel Song. You know,
I'm glad.
I go to the boys, go, he gets a song better than we do. He understands it better than we do. We wrote the thing.
Hey.
That's how it should be described.
Absolutely brilliant. What have you been listening to at the moment?
For me, St. Vincent's new album.
I need to listen to. I need to dive into it.
So good. I mean, I'm a massive St. Vincent fan. I first discovered her. I saw her play with David Byrne about 2012. And I was like, she's great. And then obviously she brought out that self-titled album, St. Vincent.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is just great. So obviously, you know, our bass player Finn, he loves her so much. He's a massive fan of 70s music, and her new album is very 70s inspired, and like, you know, electric pianos and gospel choirs. I loved it. So I've been spinning that.
What is there any music, if St. Vincent is playing a part in your songwriting experience right now, what kind of music, either current or things that you just go back to again and again, that inspires your songwriting? Yes,
it depends on who you ask in the band, because, you know, I mean, Dale's really into hip hop, and he got me into hip hop really, and, like, you know, someone like Kendrick Lamar, because one of the things I like about hip hop is, unlike rock, where it's very much like, you know, guitar driven, it's got a very distinct sort of feel. Hip hop can kind of do whatever it wants. You can go like, we're going to throw a bit of jazz in, a little bit of rock in there. It's very like, you know, again, like that sort of Frankenstein of like sort of styles. And I find that really inspiring, because it shows you, you know, I think it's great to when you approach songwriters to just go, you know, let's just do a bit of this, a bit of that, and if it puts together and see what happens. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it works, great. You know, I recently revisited My Twisted Dark Beautiful Fantasy, you know, the Kanye West album.
Oh yeah.
I am Shakespeare in the flesh.
And I was like, it's so dense. And I was like, but I love it because it's so dense. There's so many different things going on, and I find it really inspiring.
Is that something that Trusted are going to try and aim to do at some point? Put out a song which is going to be decisive.
Yeah, see, we're in the studio at the moment recording an EP, and even I wouldn't say no. I'm not going to put myself in the same bracket, or whatever. But and it's nowhere near as extreme as, you know, the artists we've just talked about.
Yeah,
but it definitely does some weird things. So we're starting to like go, we're going to give that a go and give that a go. Because for us, it's like, even though we're doing that, it's still us it's still our voices, it's still us doing it. I think that's one of the things when you're trying out a sound or a style, even though it might be different to what you usually do, it's still you making it, you know.
Yeah.
So it's still like, it's still the Trusted, but it's just like, if the Trusted did this or Trusted did that. So I think it'd be interesting to see what people think of the 4 songs we're making at the moment, because they're definitely very anti-rebel song. Still be the trusted.
Yeah.
You know,
like you say, the whole lockdown experience has just, I think, made us realize how open our eyes should be to the rest of what's possible, instead of just following a certain path and well, this is what we said that we were going to do, so we're just going to stick to it, which I can understand listeners wanting that, because that's what they fall in love with. But I think there's a falling in love with the creative experience.
If you listen to Spotify, or if you listen to Spotify, you have a playlist, you know, you have people who've got, like, you know, 1 minute listening to Capturing the Bottom Man, and the next minute they're listening to, like, you know, Kanye West on the same playlist. And you're like, that's how people consume music now.
I feel like Rebel Song could still fit in well with what's coming for you guys, and it's going to feel so epic when, like you say, you're going to be able to perform Rebel Song again, and then be able to, you know, try out these new songs that are coming out. I think loads of people are going to be excited just to consume as much live music as possible. Everyone's just going to be going crazy for it.
The boom of live music in, you know, the next 5 years is going to be great.
So the Rebel Song, The Trusted, it's a fantastic, like, indie rock bliss, which just offers so much, which, fair play to you guys. It's been absolutely epic. Congratulations on it.
Enjoyed it.
And yeah, exciting times for The Trusted. We've been told that, you know, there's a potential of various things in terms of new music, which is going to be so epic. And I can't wait to hear that.
Just hope they happen, because, you know.
Yeah. Put yourself out on the line now.
It's like, you know,
pressure now.
Pressure's on. Don't like it.
Amazing. It's been so great chatting to you, man. And congratulations again on the new single.